نہیں ملتا. یہ بین بانوں کا تھا کھو گیا میرا صغر. یہ بین بانوں کا تھا کھو گیا میرا صغر. اسے ڈھونڈوں گی کیسے بھلا نہیں ملتا. حسین ایسا کوئی بادشاہ نہیں ملتا. ہے عابدی کی دعا ذاکر حسین بنے. ہے عابدی کی دعا ذاکر حسین بنے. ہر ایک کو تو یہ رتبہ صدا نہیں ملتا. حسین جیسا کوئی بادشاہ نہیں ملتا. ہمیں تو ایسا کوئی رہنما نہیں ملتا. حسین جیسا کوئی بادشاہ. اللہم صلی علی محمد. فاتحہ. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. رب العالمین الرحمن الرحیم. کہتی تھی رو کے فاطمہ زہرا جواب دو. خاموش کیوں ہو اے میری اماں جواب دو. کیا ہو گیا یہ حشر کا ساما جواب دو. ہوتی ہے بیٹی آپ پہ قربان جواب دو. ہوتی ہے بیٹی آپ پہ قربان جواب دو. اب تو برائے خالق یزداں جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو. اے غم نصیب مادرے مستر اٹھو اٹھو. آئے گا صبر اب مجھے کیوں کر اٹھو اٹھو. اب تو برائے خالق اکبر اٹھو اٹھو. سر پیٹتی ہے آپ کی دختر اٹھو اٹھو. سر پیٹتی ہے آپ کی دختر اٹھو اٹھو. محبوب کبریا کی دل و جان جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو. اے میری غم زداؤ دل افگار اماں جان. محبوب کبریا کی وفادار اماں جان. کیا ہو گئی جہان سے بیزار اماں جان. کچھ تو کہو زبان سے ایک بار اماں جان. ارے کچھ تو کہو زبان سے ایک بار اماں جان. بیٹی کھڑی ہے مسترو حیران جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو. اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب ہے صرف گریاؤ زاری اٹھو اٹھو دیکھو تو سارے گھر کی تباہی اٹھو اٹھو تم کو قسم حق کی واری اٹھو اٹھو لو آ گئی تمہاری سواری اٹھو اٹھو لو آ گئی تمہاری سواری اٹھو اٹھو آئے ہیں در پہ چاہنے والے جواب دو اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو جنت کو میری مادرو دل و جان جائیے اب گھر ہمارا ہو گیا سنسان جائیے پھر ایک بار ہو لوں تو قربان جائیے خالق اب تمہارا نگہبان جائیے خالق اب تمہارا نگہبان جائیے کیا داغ ہم کو دے گئی اماں جواب دو اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو اماں جواب دو میری اماں جواب دو صلی علی This is a request for Surah Fatiha for the following Marhumin Mir Ashiq Ali, Shah Zama Begum, Professor Sayyid Wafadar Hussaini, Allama Mushtaba Hassan Kamanpuri. Surah Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين أبي القاسم محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق قائلين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The verses that I recited are from chapter number 93 from the Holy Quran, known as Surah Duha. And I recited the first 8 ayat of this chapter as some of these ayat are related to the personality for whom we are gathered here tonight, commemorating her Wafaat, which is the beloved wife of our Prophet, Bibi Khadija, salamullahi alayha, salawat bi Muhammad wa ala Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins this chapter by taking two oaths. As is the case with many of these smaller chapters of Quran in the 30th juz, the majority of them begin with some sort of qasam, with some sort of oath taken by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ayah begins by saying وَالضُّحَى, and that's where the name of the ayah is also derived, or the surah rather is also derived. That's why it's known as Surah وَالضُّحَى. There are many times in the daytime, in the night time, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken an oath by. You'll find in Quran that Allah says وَالْفَجْرِ. You'll find in Quran that Allah says وَالصُّبْحِ. You will also find وَالنَّهَارِ. You will also find وَالْعَصْرِ. You will also find وَاللَّيْلِ. And then you'll also find وَالضُّحَى. So there are different times that are throughout the 24 hours that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken the oath by, which only highlights one thing, that time is money. Time is precious. Time is important. Therefore, it's worth swearing and taking an oath by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and therefore mankind should utilize their time in the best possible manner. Do not waste your time. And in fact, I've recited this hadith many times before, sorry for repetition, that one of the Imams and Ma'asumeen said that if you had only 2 days left in your life, what would you do? And so people were obviously, the obvious answer that you and I would give is to forget about all the worldly, deals or things or affairs. We will be trying to establish, swiftly, as quickly as possible, a connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are only 2 days left. I can care less about this world now. Imam said if you had 2 days left, spend the first day learning adab, and spend the second day practicing adab, if you had 2 days left in your life. Therefore, Imam is summarizing your whole life, that you should always try, and your endeavor should be to gain and understand and learn adab, saliqa, morality, and your objective should always be to practice that as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears by all the different times in the day. So here we find that He swears by وَالضُّحَى, because time is money, time is important. Remember the cry of that person. Youngsters would not be able to relate to this, but the elderly would be that back home, there were people who used to sell ice. Badi badi salliyan hoti thi ice barf ki. And the guy would be going around in that heat, in the summer days, selling this ice. And he would call, he would say, Irhamu man yadhubu ra'su malih. Have mercy on the one whose investment is melting away. Because if you don't buy it before it melts, my investment is all gone. Because I can't sell water. I'm here to sell this ice. And so the life is the same way. That is slowly and gradually melting away. So you have this opportunity in your hand, you go ahead and utilize it. That's one of the means why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears and takes an oath by the time. So you find over here, وَالضُّحَى. What is that time, duha? We understand subh, we understand nahar, we understand asr, we understand layl, we understand fajr. But what's the time of duha? Duha is usually referred to the time when sun is at its brightest. And that's why the word duha literally means the brightness of, the sun. When the day is bright. So usually it's the time before midday when sun is at its peak and its brightest. And that's the time of duha, just before nahar. So before you get to midday, just before that, prior to that is the time of duha. Why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken an oath by that? Because it's a time when everything is clear for you. Everything is apparent and obvious to you. You can't make any mistakes. Similar to when a person dies, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيَكَ الْيَقِينَ. Worship Allah until you attain certainty. What does that mean? A lot of people, they translated the word yaqeen as the level and the rank of observation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Shuhud, for example. And that's why many of these Sufis, they stopped worshipping Allah. They said, because we have reached the level of yaqeen. Allah himself is saying, وَعْبُدْ رَبَّكَ حَتَّى يَأْتِيكَ الْيَقِينَ. Worship Allah until you reach yaqeen. Now I'm at the stage of yaqeen. I don't need ibadat. So they discarded the ibadat. They never thought for a second if anyone would fit this criteria to be at the highest level of yaqeen would be the Prophet of Islam, would be the Zat of Amirul Mu'mineen. Yet you find about Ali, قُتِلَ عَلِيٌّ فِي الْمِحْرَابِ لِشِدَّةِ عَدْلِهِ. Ali, who's at the highest level of yaqeen, he's found martyred while worshipping in the mihrab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore you find that this was a misunderstanding of the word yaqeen for them. The word yaqeen here refers to maut. That worship Allah until maut comes upon you. And maut is translated as yaqeen. Why? Because when death comes upon, everything becomes very clear. Everything now makes sense. Everything is very obvious. All the veils are lifted from in front of you. It's only Amirul Mu'mineen who said, لَوْ كُشِفَ الْغَطَى مَزْدَدْتُ يَقِينًا. If all the veils were lifted from in front of me, it will not increase one bit of my certainty. Because he was already at that level of certainty. But for you and I, when we die, this certainty becomes apparent. So the word yaqeen means what? Death. Because everything becomes clear for you. Now you make sense of everything, but what? It's too late. Because death has already overtaken you. You will only say, رَبِّ رَجُعُونِي, oh Allah, return me. لَعَلِّي أَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا, so that I may act righteously. No, that is something which he's just uttering from his tongue. It's not going to happen. So duha is the same way. Everything is obvious for you. So Allah takes an oath by this. وَالضُّحَى. And then right after that, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. And the night, when it covers the entire universe with its darkness. Saja comes from sujuv, which means to, hide or conceal something or cover something. That's why when you shroud the mayyat, it's called what? Musajja. You may have heard the word musajja for the mayyat. When you have shrouded it, covered it with the shroud, now that it's covered from all around, it's called musajja. And that's why many of the Arabs, if you have ever performed namaz janaza, instead of using the word mayyat, they use the word musajja. So, وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى. And the night when it covers everything. Night is, we talked about night the other day, and so I'm not going to go in that detail, but just very quickly these ayat before I get to the ayat, which is the reason for the majlis tonight. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. What is the background of this surah? This surah was revealed after a pause in revelation. Allah sent certain surahs and then there was a pause. Some mention there was a pause of 3 years, some mention less, more, whatever. So 3 years, imagine if Allah hasn't spoken to Rasulullah. This was the opportunity for kuffar and mushrikeen to what? Taunt Rasulullah. And as well as the new Muslimin, those whose iman were, still not that strong. So they would taunt them. They will mock them. That God of yours, which we cannot even see, has stranded you, has left you alone. And it was a fake God and this and that, all that stuff. Obviously, Rasulullah would feel bad about hearing this as well. And when the other companions would complain about it, Rasulullah would feel the same. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals this surah after that long gap in revelation. And the third ayah says, مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor is He, for example, has any grudge or He's mad at you. Qala means that He's, mad at you. Wadda'aka, when you do al-wida, right? Forsaken. Allah has not forsaken you, nor is He mad at you. وَلَا الْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Akhirat is definitely better than ula, this worldly life. One translation is that Prophet's earlier life, as opposed to Prophet's later life, is being mentioned over here. Well, some riwayat mention no. Akhirat is in the sense of akhirat, and ula is in the sense of this world. That definitely akhirat is better than this world. وَلَا الْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى وَلَا سَوْفَ يُؤْتِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. Yes, after having mentioned all of that, then Allah says, this gives this glad news, glad tidings, that indeed, very soon, God will bestow something which will satisfy you. وَلَا سَوْفَ يُعْتِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. We found that every single human being is trying to satisfy Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here there are certain individuals that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to satisfy them. He said, وَلَا سَوْفَ يُؤْتِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. You and I are working and worshipping to satisfy Allah and seek His pleasure. Allah is saying, O Prophet, we will give you something which will be satisfaction for you. And the implementation of that satisfaction was what? Implementation was إِنَّا عَطَيْنَكَ الْكَوْثَرَ. That, O Prophet, that satisfaction is this Kawthar that we have bestowed upon you in the form of Fatimatu Zahra, Salamullahi alayha. So this is the promise that Allah is making, which will come true later on. وَلَا سَوْفَ يُؤْتِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى. And then Allah reminds that you thought we had forgotten about you? أَلَمْ يَجِدْكَ يَتِيمًا فَآوَى. Did we not find you an orphan and sheltered you? وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. Some people translated the word ضال as misguided, whereas the word ضال has been used in Quran for something which is unknown or lost. Did we not find you lost, wandering around, and then your family had found you? وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. And we found you without family and in need of family, and we enriched you with that as well. So we look at Mufassirin as to who are being addressed in these ayat. When he said, Alam yajidka yatiman fa'awa, that did we not find you a yatim and we've provided shelter for you? They all agree upon, and books of history are filled with it, that Rasulullah was born as an orphan. His father Abdullah had died before the birth of Rasulullah. He was in the care of his grandfather for a few years until he passed away. And then it was his uncle Hazrat Abu Talib, Muhsin Islam, who took care and did the kifalat of Rasulullah. So when it says, Alam yajidka yatiman, did we not find you yatim, O Prophet, and we provided shelter through Abu Talib? When you look at the concept of yatim, that there's so many riwayat. Man masaha ala ra's al-yatim, the one who puts his hand of shafqat and rahmat and mercy on the head of a yatim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow the reward and the thawab of the many hair that he touches, for example. Another worth mentioning is that when Prophet stood up and he was telling people, I don't like to give shortcuts to anything, but there are shortcuts. Islam, Deen has provided certain things, and there are shortcuts. He said the easiest way to get to paradise is to do kifalat of a yatim. Take care of a yatim, this orphan.
Now you may provide food and shelter and all that, but how many of us have sat down with a yatim and an orphan, gave them that love, which a fatherly love this child is missing, for example. So Prophet said what? He said, Ana wa kafilul yatim kahatayn fil jannah. To that extent, that me and the person who takes care of yatim are going to be like this, hand in hand, next to each other in paradise. Where is Prophet going to be in paradise? Near Hawd al-Kawthar. He said, Ana wa kafilul yatim kahatayn fil jannah. Me and the one who takes care of a yatim are going to be like this in paradise. That is when you take care of an ordinary yatim. But if this yatim is Mahbub Ilahi, Prophet of Islam, Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and if someone takes care of Prophet, just imagine the rutbah and the rank of that individual. And that is no one other than Hazrat Abu Talib. And this ayat is mentioning that aspect. وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. There was a story that Prophet was lost, and when he was coming back from Halima Sadiya, and then later on he was found. And so that refers to وَوَجَدَكَ ضَالًّا فَهَدَى. That we found you wandering around, and you were lost, and then you were found. وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. And we found you to be in need of family, and we enriched you. This is where Mufassirin agree upon the fact that this ayat is referring towards the Zat of Janab Hazrat Khadija Salamullahi alayha, Salawat Biji Muhammad wa and the role of Hazrat Khadija in this reference. That it's easy to talk about Hazrat Khadija because there's so many merits that are mentioned, but it's very difficult to talk about Hazrat Khadija as well. That who are we to mention the merits of Hazrat Khadija Salamullahi alayha when she's an individual for whom Jibreel descends and says to Rasulullah that I and Allah conveys his salam to Khadija. Imagine. The biggest it could get to us is that Nabi sends his salutations to us. An Imam sends his salutation to us. That would be enough pride for us. But Riwayat mentioned that Rasulullah received Jibreel, who said, Ata Jibreel, he said, فَإِذَا هِيَ أَتَتْكِ فَقْرَى عَلَيْهَا السَّلَامِ مِنْ رَبِّهَا. When Khadija comes to you, O Rasul, convey our salam to Khadija. And that is the status of Hazrat Khadija, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending his salutations. And then moreover, Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, is someone who takes pride in being called Ana ibn Khadija in the ziyarah. You recite in Ziyarat Warith as well, Yabna Khadijat al-Kubra. Hussein, who's waris of all the Anbiya, is mentioned as what? He's mentioned as waris of, or Yabna Khadijat al-Kubra. That's a pride for Hussein ibn Ali, and in return it's the pride for Khadijat al-Kubra salamullahi alayha. That is her status. So we can divide the life of Janab Khadija in three phases, and I'll go through it very quickly. First phase of her life is before marriage. Second phase of her life is after marriage. And third phase is basically in parallel to the second one, after Islam. That we have very little details of her life prior to Islam. And there's a comparison that ulama have done in reference to the life of Hazrat Khadija and the story of Hazrat Musa and the marriage to the daughter of Shu'aib alayhi salam. That the story of Hazrat Musa is what? That Hazrat Musa came to Madian. He had run away and he came to Madian. And here, when he helped out the daughters of Hazrat Shu'aib, the daughter goes and says to the father that this man helped us out. He's qawi and he's amin. Hazrat Shu'aib turned around and said to his daughter, I realized that he's qawi, he's powerful, he's strong, that he was able to ward off all these men and he was able to, fetch water for you. So that strength and him being strong is understandable. How do you realize that he's also Amin? that he's Ameen, that he's trustworthy. She said, when I asked him to come to house and speak to my father, he said, I will walk ahead of you, although I don't know the house. You guide me by throwing the stones that turn right or turn left. Because I don't want to be walking behind you, and that is against the modesty. So that was the story when Hazrat Musa ﷺ, and thus the daughter of Hazrat Shuaib is declaring the fact that he is not only Qawi, but he's also Ameen. And similar is the life of Rasulullah when he comes in interaction with Hazrat Khadija, that he joins the caravan of Hazrat Khadija. That the Maysara, the only thing that he mentioned about Hazrat Rasulullah was what? That he's Ameen. That he's Ameen. The Amanadari of Rasulullah, which he was known for the first 40 years of his life, through the tongues of those who are his enemies. At one point your own people praise you, but at one point your enemies praise you. That is more worthy when your enemies are praising you. So here we see this one comparison, that Rasulullah is known as Ameen and Sadiq. And thus, وَوَجَدَكَ عَائِلًا فَأَغْنَى. Rasulullah was married to Janab Khadija, and thus he was provided for that. Marriage of Hazrat Musa, the daughter of Shuaib, she said, Ya abati, ista'ajarhu, O my father, pay him for what he has done. You know, obviously he's done something for us, now go ahead and pay him. And then Prophet said, قَالَ إِنِّي أُرِيدُكَ أَنْ أُنْكَحَكَ إِهْدَيْ إِبْنَتَيْ. Hazrat Shuaib said that I want to marry one of my daughters to you. Marriage of Rasulullah was also the proposal which was sent by Hazrat Khadija. The marriage proposal is from the father of the bride, Hazrat Shuaib. And here the marriage proposal is also, we find from Hazrat Khadija herself, through her friend Nafisa, that this proposal was sent to Hazrat Abu Talib, and Hazrat Abu Talib was the kafil, therefore he went ahead and he okayed it, and Rasulullah had left all of these things for Hazrat Abu Talib, and he was the person who had recited the nikah as well. So you find this similarity. And unfortunately, how far have we come as far as social terms are concerned? That those people whom we idolize, those people whom we revere, in their families, girls, there's nothing wrong and there's no harm in girls sending the proposal. And the boy responding, in the family of the male responding. Even in the life of Hazrat Musa, you say, well, that was way far back. But this is at least Islam, that where Hazrat Khadija is sending the proposal and Rasulullah is responding to it. So there's really no harm in it. It's just that culturally we have developed a sense that no, the proposal should always come from the male and the girl should go ahead and accept. Which is actually on the contrary, because at the time of nikah, the sigha is initiated on behalf of the bride and groom only accepts it. So that Islam left it in the hands of the daughters, that you have the right to make this choice. No one else can force it upon you. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. After marriage, very quickly, Janab Khadija's life changed greatly. And how did it change? Those very people who were always around Hazrat Khadija, the fact that she turned down so many proposals and she married Rasulullah, and many people started boycotting Janab Khadija. Many Qurayshi women, at the time when a woman is in need of others, especially other female members of the family, all of these female members had stranded Hazrat Khadija. And the riwayah says, Mufaddal ibn Umar says, that from our sixth Imam, كَيْفَ كَانَ وِلَادَةُ فَاطِمَةُ. How was the wiladat of Fatima Zahra? He responds, فَقَالَ النَّعَمْ إِنَّا خَدِيجَةَ لَمَّا تَزَوَّجَ بِهَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ. When Rasulullah had married Khadijatul Kubra, hajaratha niswatu Makkah. All of the women of Makkah had stranded her, abandoned her, left her alone. Hajaratha, hijrat, right? You do kuch, you leave. They had left her alone. فَكُنَّا لَا يَدْخُلْنَا عَلَيْهَا وَلَا يُسَلَّمْنَا. They will not enter upon her, nor they will even salute or say salam to her. وَلَا يَتْرُكْنَا إِمْرَأَةً تَدْخُلُ عَلَيْهَا فَاسْتَوْحَشَتْ خَدِيجَةً. And as a time when a woman is terrified because of the experience that she's going through, Khadija was the same way. وَكَانَ جَزَعُهَا وَغَمُّهَا حَذْرًا عَلَيْهِ فَلَمَّا حَمَلَتْ فَفَاطِمَةَ كَانَتْ فَاطِمَةُ تُحَدِّثُهَا. But when she became pregnant with Fatima al-Zahra, she found, Salawat Biji Muhammad wa Muhammad, she found someone who would console her. Why? That baby in the womb would be speaking to her mother. It would be consoling the heart of Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha. It says, Fatimatu tuhaddithuha min batniha wa tusabbiruha. And she would also make her, give her patience and to console her heart. To sabbir, give her sabr, that be patient what is happening to you. وَكَانَتْ تَكْتُمُ ذَلِكَ مِنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. Janab Khadija kept it secret even from Rasulullah. فَدَخَلَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ يَوْمًا. One day Rasulullah entered upon Hazrat Khadija. فَسَمِعَ خَدِيجَةُ تُحْدِثُ فَاطِمَةَ. And he heard that she was speaking to someone while there was no one inside the room. When he asked, Ya Khadija, man tuhaddithin? Who are you speaking to? قَالَتْ الْجَنِينَ الَّذِي فِي بَطْنِي يُحَدِّثُنِي وَيُؤْنِسُنِي. That the baby in my womb is the one who's speaking to me and is the one who's providing comfort to me in this terrible time. Salawat Biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And lastly, after Islam, that her life after Islam, it would not be an understatement if we said that Islam spread with the sword of Ali and with the wealth of Khadija. There's so much that the wealth of Hazrat Khadija did for Islam. You know, the initial hijrat towards Abyssinia, who provided for that? The wealth of Hazrat Khadija. The 3 difficult years in Shayb Abi Talib, guess who provided for all of that? It was the wealth of Hazrat Khadija that took care of it. And even the initial cost of building the masjid in Madinatul Munawwara, it was through the wealth of Hazrat Khadija salamullahi alayha. So this is where Prophet of Islam, even after the Wafaat of Rasulullah, would often remember her. And whenever one of the other wives would say that, why do you always remember that lady all the time? Rasulullah remained married to her for 25 years. You know, those who, especially non-Muslims who associate this with Rasulullah, that he married so many women and he married a 9-year-old and all that stuff, although that's a myth that Aisha was 9 at the time of marriage. I'll just give you one reference in regards to that. That Aisha is the daughter of Abu Bakr, and she's the younger sister of Asma. She was 10 years younger than Asma. Asma, when she died in the 73rd year after Hijrah, she was 100 years old. This is documented in Ibn Tabari and Athir, both narrate this. She was 100 years old in the year 73 after Hijrah. That means, do the math, she was born 27 years prior to Hijrat. So if she's born 27 years prior to Hijrat, and she's 10 years older than Aisha at the time of Hijrat, when Rasulullah hasn't married Aisha, how old Aisha would be? She would be 17 years old. And when she started living with Rasulullah, she would be 19 years old. So there's a myth which is created for no reason, just to show, and that is the reason you find how in this society, something which is looked down upon, that they elaborate upon this fact. But nonetheless, Rasulullah remained married to one woman, and that was Khadijatul Kubra. And that's why Rasulullah took pride in it. Whenever other wives would say something, he said, Wallahi, they would say that Allah has given you better wives than Khadija. Why do you remember her? Rasulullah would respond by saying, Wallahi, ma abdanani Allahu khayran minha. That Allah has not given me better than Khadijatul Kubra. Wa aminat bi hina kafara nas. Why? I'll give you proof. She brought Iman onto me when everybody was disapproving me. They were doing kufr against me. وَصَدَّقَتْنِي إِذْ كَذَّبَنِي النَّاسِ. She did tasdeeq of my risalat when people were denying me being the Rasul of Allah. وَوَاسَطَنِي بِمَالِهَا إِذْ حَرَّمَنِي النَّاسِ. And she provided me with her wealth when people were depriving me of their wealth. وَرَزَقَنِيَ اللَّهُ الْوَلَدْ مِنْهَا وَلَمْ يَرْزُقْنِي مِنْ غَيْرِهَا. And she holds the title that Allah provided me children only through Khadijatul Kubra, and He did not provide me children with any other wife. Salawat biji Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. And so that's why we see this maqam of Janab Khadija salamullahi alayha. Indeed, she's cannot be compared with any other women as far as her status is concerned. Riwayat mention there are 9 or 10 ayat of Quran which refer towards Hazrat Khadija. You cannot put her in the same line as Ummahatul Mu'mineen. She is the mother. You know, we say, and this is a famously known riwayat, کہ ماں کے قدموں تلے جنت ہوتی ہے، اور جناب خدیجہ کے قدموں تلے اس کی جنت تھی کہ جو خود خاتون جنت ہے، تو جو جناب سیدہ ہیں. تو جناب سیدہ کی والدہ ہونے کی حیثیت سے 4 خواتین جن کا تذکرہ کیا ہے رسول اللہ نے. لوگ اکثر وہ روایت پڑھتے تھے، وہ آیت پڑھتے تھے کہ قرآن میں آیا ان اللہ اصطفاکی وطہرکی واصطفاکی علی النساء العالمین. اے مریم، اللہ نے تم کو چنا ہے اور تم کو طہارت دی ہے اور تم کو چنا ہے تمام عالمین کی عورتوں کے اوپر. کہا جب ان کی یہ حیثیت ہے تو پھر اس کا مطلب مریم سے بڑھ کر کوئی نہیں ہے. فوراً جواب یہ دیا کہ بنی اسرائیل کے لیے بھی خدا نے یہی کہا تھا کہ اے بنی اسرائیل انا فضلناکم علی العالمین، کہ اللہ نے کہا کہ اے بنی اسرائیل ہم نے تم کو عالمین کے اوپر فضیلت دے دی. کیا بنی اسرائیل رسول کی امت سے افضل ہیں؟ کہا نہیں، ہو نہیں سکتے. کہا بس کیسے ہو سکتا ہے کہ وہاں پہ تو تم یہ لے لو کہ عالمین سے مراد آخر عمر ہے، لیکن یہاں پہ عالمین سے مراد صرف اور صرف وہ وقت تھا جو بنی اسرائیل جس وقت رہتے تھے، ورنہ وہ رسول کی امت سے افضل نہیں ہیں. کہا اس آیت میں بھی یہی مقصد چھپا ہوا ہے کہ جناب مریم اپنے زمانے کی عورتوں میں سب سے افضل تھیں، لیکن اگر تمہیں افضل ترین خاتون کو دیکھنا ہے تو وہ ذات فاطمہ الزہرا سلام اللہ علیہا کے. بس حضرت خدیجہ نے وہ جو 3 سال شیب ابی طالب میں گزارے، وہ زندگی کے کٹھن ترین زندگی کے پہر تھے کہ جو گزارے، جن مشکلات سے وہ گزریں، اور انہی مشکلات کے بعد سے جناب خدیجہ کی بیماری سامنے آتی ہے جس کی وجہ سے وہ انتقال کر جاتی ہیں. ہم لوگ جب سید الشہداء کے غم میں 2 مہینہ فرش عزا بچھاتے ہیں تو کچھ لوگوں کو یہ تکلیف ہوتی ہے کہ بھائی ایک دن روزہ عاشور آپ منا لیجئے، 10 دن آپ منا لیجئے، کیا 2 مہینے تک کہ آپ جو ہے وہ غم مناتے رہتے ہیں؟ یہ کہاں کی سنت ہے؟ کہا ہم نے یہ سنت رسول اللہ سے سیکھی ہے. 2 مہینہ بھی کم ہے حسین کا غم منانے کے لیے. کل یوم عاشورہ کل ارض کربلا، حسین کا غم ساری عمر چلتا رہے گا، سارا سال چلتا رہے گا. کہا اور یہ روایت اور یہ سنت ہے رسول اللہ کی. جس سال حضرت خدیجہ کا انتقال ہوا اور اسی سال حضرت ابو طالب کا انتقال ہوا تو رسول اللہ نے یہ نہیں کہا کہ 1 ہفتے تک کے غم مناؤ، 1 مہینے تک کے لیے غم مناؤ، بلکہ اس پورے کے پورے سال کو عنوان دیا عام الحزن، کہ وہ پورا کا پورا سال حزن کا سال تھا، غم کا سال تھا. تو جب رسول اللہ ایک طبیعی موت کے اوپر حضرت خدیجہ اور حضرت ابو طالب کی اس کو عام الحزن قرار دے سکتے ہیں تو امام حسین کی اس شہادت عظیم کے بعد سے کیوں نہ ان کا غم 2 ماہ تک منایا جائے. بس میں اختتام کی طرف آؤں گا. جناب خدیجہ اس بیماری کی وجہ سے ان کا انتقال قریب تھا کہ جب وہ جاتی ہیں اور جانے سے پہلے اپنی بیٹی سے کہتی ہیں کہ اپنے توسل کرتے ہوئے ان کو واسطہ بناتے ہوئے کہتی ہیں مجھے رسول اللہ سے مستقیم یہ بات کہتے ہوئے شرم آتی ہے، اے میری بیٹی تم واسطہ بنو. ارے رسول سے کہنا، اپنے والد سے کہنا کہ میرے کفن، اپنے لباس، اپنے پیراہن کا مجھے کفن دیں. جناب خدیجہ رسول اللہ کی خوشبو کو اپنے ساتھ قبر تک لے کے جانا چاہتی ہیں. بس وہ جب آخری وقت آیا احتضار کا تو اس وقت خدیجہ نے کہا میری بیٹی کو باہر لے جایا جائے. ارے میں نہیں چاہتی کہ ننھی بیٹی اپنی ماں کو آخری سانسیں لیتے ہوئے دیکھے. جب جناب خدیجہ اس دنیا سے گزر گئیں، رسول اللہ لے جاتے ہیں جنازے کو اور دفنا دیتے ہیں. ایک دفعہ دفنا کے جب واپس پلٹتے ہیں تو بیٹی آتی ہے آگے، کہتی ہے یا بچی، اے بابا این امی، ارے میری مادر گرامی کہاں ہے؟ ارے بابا میری ماں کو کہاں چھوڑ آئے؟ فاطمہ ابھی بہت چھوٹی ہے. جب یہ سوال کیا رسول اللہ خود غم غم و اندوہ میں تھے، کس طریقے سے جواب دیتے، بس کچھ سمجھ میں نہ آیا۔ ایک دفعہ جبرائیل آتے ہیں، آگے کہتے ہیں اے رسول فاطمہ سے کہہ دو ارے خدیجہ خدا کے پاس ہیں اور ان کے لیے خدا نے یاقوت کا محل بنایا ہے اور خدیجہ آرام سے ہیں، تمہیں پریشان ہونے کی ضرورت نہیں ہے۔ بس یہ سننا تھا، جناب سیدہ کو بھی سکون آتا ہے، رسول اللہ کو بھی سکون آتا ہے۔ میں کہوں گا اے حضرت خدیجہ، آپ نے اپنے مال سے اسلام پہ قربانی دی، ارے آپ کی بڑی قربانیاں ہیں، لیکن آخری وقت میں رسول اللہ نے آپ کی تدفین اور تکفین کی، آپ کو دفنایا گیا، لیکن کسی نے آپ کے گھر کا دروازہ نہ گرایا۔ ارے آپ کے شکم میں بچہ مر نہیں گیا، ارے محسن شہید نہ ہوا۔ آئیے دیکھیے مصیبت فاطمہ الزہرا کی، ارے فاطمہ الزہرا ابھی کچھ ہی دن ہوئے ہیں رسول کو گزرے ہوئے، گھر پہ آگ لائی جاتی ہے، دروازہ گرایا جاتا ہے۔ الا لعنت اللہ القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون۔ بار الہ ہمارے سے بات قبول فرما، ہم گناہ گار ہیں، ہمارے گناہوں سے درگزر فرما، اہل بیت علیہ السلام کے نقش قدم چلنے کی توفیق عطا فرما، امام کے ظہور میں تعجیل فرما، ان کے آوان انصار میں شمار کر، ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم۔
یا حسین 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 یا حسین۔
ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی ہے، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے غم تیرے جاتی رہی، ہائے غم تیرے لاتی رہی، اینائی علی کی تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، دربار میں ظالم کے گئی بنت پیمبر، کیا وقت تھا کچھ کرنا سکا فاتح خیبر، ہائے ہنستے رہے غربت پہ تماشائی علی کی، تیری تنہا ہے، تیری تنہائی ہے، تیری تنہائی ہے، تیری تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، پیغام ولایت لیے گھر گھر گئی زہرا، شوہر کے لیے ڈھالتی جب تک رہی زندہ، ہائے دنیا کو بتاتی رہی سچائی علی کی، تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے، تنہائی علی کی، کہتے تھے علی زہرا سے کیا حال ہے بی بی، اب ہم کو سلام کی بھی کر تھا نہیں کوئی، ہائے باد نبی کیسی پذیرائی علی کی، تیری تنہائی ہے تنہائی علی کی، ہائے زہرا تیری تنہائی ہے تنہائی علی کی۔
مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، وہ عابد بیمار تھا، وہ عابد بیمار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا، اور شام کا بازار تھا، اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں، مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، وہ اصغر بے شیر تھا، وہ اصغر بے شیر تھا، اور ارملا کا تیر تھا، اور ارملا کا تیر تھا، ننھا گلا کیوں کرچدا لرزی زمین اور آسمان، مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین،
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى وارث أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله الحسين، السلام عليك يا أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي، السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان وشر الشيطان، السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسعنا الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك واجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وخائزا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها توينا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.